Greetings, and welcome to the DungeonDorcs. We at the DungeonDorc School for Adventurers are dedicated to the education and upliftment of adventurers both noobs and experienced. I've got 3 words for you: race, background, and class. No, this is not a polemic into the 1,000 Years' War. This is D&D Character Creation Guide. So without further ado, let us get started. One of the most important considerations for your character is what your D&D fantasy race will be. D&D offers a wide variety of choices, from the humble human to classic fantasy choice selections such as elves and dwarves, to even more exotic and unique choices such as the genasi, a race touched by some kind of elemental influence. But why is this important? Firstly, your racial choice contributes towards your ability scores, and certain starting abilities such as the Kinku's mimicry and the halfling's luck feature. It is important to note that certain aspects of racial choice have changed as optional rules with the release of Tasha's Cauldron of Everything. However, for the purposes of this scryonce, and for the sake of simplicity, we will look at these as they were in the basic core rules set out at the initial release. Secondly, it is very important for deciding the field of your character, who they are and how they act, such as things as what they might eat, and helps you define yourself in a world filled with fantastical creatures, places, and cultures. It begins to give your character a sense of identity. With this in mind, it becomes very important to discuss how different races work in your DM settings, such as whether elves in this world are majestic, or if they may be a little bit barbaric. Discussing your choice of race will also be important when considering your fellow adventurers, because there may be some interesting racial dynamics, such as in the typical D&D setting of Faerun, where there is a history of hostility between orcs and dwarves, and this could make for some fun interplay at the group. Let us think about this practically for a moment, and what this could mean for us. If your adventurer was, say, a half-orc, for example, like myself, you would expect to be a bit stronger than average and a little bit tougher, which means statistically I get a +2 to my strength ability score and a +1 to my constitution ability score. Also, we would have racial features such as dark vision, which allows us to see better in the darkness and in dim light. We have menacing, which makes us better at intimidation. Relentless endurance, which makes us just a little bit more challenging to knock out of a fight. And savage attacks, which makes our critical hits just a little bit more potent. Don't worry if some of these concepts are a bit foreign. We will cover them in more details in future scryonces. Our races also give us a few options of languages that we can understand and read. But this too we will cover in future scryonces. Next on our itinerary are backgrounds. Basically, this is a brief overview of who or what our character was before they commenced their adventuring career. There are a large number of backgrounds to choose from, but feel free to customize and change them according to your character, especially if a certain background does not seem to quite fit. They usually follow a standard template, such that you will get 2 skill proficiencies and your choice of either 2 tool proficiencies, 2 language proficiencies, or 1 tool and 1 language proficiency. These abilities and skills are usually supplemented with a thematic feature that is more about giving your character something interesting and less about giving your character something powerful. Your background also includes a few trinkets that are reminiscent of your past. For example, if we have a look at the acolyte background, we start with proficiency in insight and religion skills, and we gain 2 languages of our choice. We come equipped with some thematically appropriate items, such as a holy symbol and vestments, and we get a minor feature which is called Shelter of the Faithful, which basically enables us to find rest and lodging with adherents of the same faith. Each of these backgrounds usually comes with a table of suggested traits, ideals, bonds, and flaws, but we recommend that you use these as an aid. They're really meant to inspire your character. You can, however, choose to roll random in these tables. You can choose one of the options, or, as we encourage you to do, make up one of your own. Lastly, let us look at classes. There are 12 classes all in all across all the books, and each of these classes have their own set of subclasses, which basically allow the adventurer to specialize or choose their niche in a certain skill set. We won't go into too much detail regarding each of these here. However, we will be doing class deep dives in the future. Basically, classes are important for determining your style of adventurer. How do you want to fight? Do you want to use axes? Magic? Bows? Or maybe even an arcano-mechanical handgun? Well, your class is whether you decide that. Your class not only determines what you fight with, but how you fight with it. It represents all of your training and preparation for becoming an adventurer. For example, if you imagine yourself as an intellectual giant with the power of the cosmos at your fingertips, then perhaps Wizard is for you. Or maybe you would prefer to be a muscle-bound lunatic with an axe. Then Barbarian might be the best way to do that. Each class is equipped with different tools for navigating and handling the different spheres of gameplay. These spheres include, not limited to of course, combat and exploration. It will be up to you to decide which of these classes fit the image that your character is trying to portray. Of course, some race background combos work better than others, but we at the DungeonDorc School for Adventurers encourage you to read through all of them and decide what seems and feels fun to you, especially with your first few characters. Optimization can come later or not at all. As long as you and your group are enjoying your character, then we consider your character to already be optimal. And that brings us to the end of this lesson. We thank you for your time, and we hope that you've learned something. We have included a Google Doc in the lesson description with some things to reference in-game, to make the process just a little bit easier. If you have any questions regarding the lessons or anything else, please do leave a comment below. If you enjoyed this lesson, please feel free to show others and give it a like. And if you wish to enroll in the syllabus, please press that subscribe button. Once again, we thank you, and until our next lesson, fare thee well.